Hello everyone, I'm Jack Theodore, the head coach of the Pioneers. Thank you all for being here. We want to do something, this is our 20th year, we want to do something a little bit different. So we've set up this great reveal for our robot, which you'll see in a few minutes. I wanted to thank the town of Montvale for always supporting us. Mayor DeSalle, you're here somewhere, I saw you. But thank you for always supporting us. We have some of our sponsors here, who also are, we couldn't do this without you. It's great to have you here as well, and hopefully we're going to make some new friends tonight. One thing I've learned from doing this for 16 years is the students are the best ambassadors for this program. So I'm not going to talk very much. I'm going to let them tell you the story. We also have a great group of alumni who always come back, and I see a lot of them are in the audience here, and they're going to run the show tonight as well as the students. Okay? Feel free to find me or any of the other coaches during the night if you want to ask any questions, or any of the students. So I'm going to turn it over right away to Ryan Hall, one of our former students, who's going to be the MC for the night. Ryan?
Hi everyone. First off, thank you guys all for coming. We really appreciate your support. I'm also not going to talk much. I think the students are the best people to speak here. But before we get any further, can we please give a big round of applause to all of our lovely parents and Mrs. B for all of the incredible food and drink that we have back there. I'm an alumni of this program. I graduated here in 2013. This is now my 11th year coming back as a mentor of the team because I see how much good it does for these kids in our community, and hopefully you guys will see that too. So without further ado, I'm going to present to you Eliza. She is our student CEO, and she's going to kick this off.
All right, thank you all for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Jack, as well. And thank you all for being here. We appreciate your presence here, parent, sponsor, or otherwise. We appreciate you. Quick introduction to me, I'm Eliza. I'm the CEO of the team and a proud Pascack Pioneer. Just a bit for anyone who might not know what quite that means. What FIRST is for inspiration and recognition of science and technology, meaning we build more than just robots. We as students have two divisions, robot and mod, or management, outreach, and design. So about half of our 63 members work on our robot, which you'll see soon, and let me just say you're in for quite a treat. As well as mod, for example, publications work on the booklets that you have with you. Every year, we go through a process similar to that of a sports team. We have our preseason, where we have our Pi-Techs, where we teach students, either rookies or veterans, about the skills that they might need for their subdivision. Either technical, hard skills, or soft skills. Then in early January, we have our kickoff, which is where, oh my gosh, the game is released. So every year, we have a new game with new tasks to do. Each robot is uniquely suited for the game, based on our priorities decided at kickoff. Then we have about 6 weeks to determine, okay, what is this robot really gonna look like? What do we want it to do? How are we gonna do that? So we go from CAD to first design and second design. So that means we go from a full CAD model to our practice bot to our final bot. Then we go into our competition season around March and April, in which we actually have our first competition coming up this weekend after demonstrating this robot at a week 0 event last weekend. So we're all very, very excited for that. Our main goal as a team is to cooperate and operate as a cohesive team, competing with gracious professionalism, a first core ethos, and developing our students' abilities as individuals, and to create and develop collectively as a team. So, like I said, we go beyond the robot. We have many subdivisions, which you see up here, as well as a wonderful collective of mentors, coaches, and alumni to support us throughout this process. I know as a senior, it's helped me as a leader, as an individual, and as someone who looks forward to a wonderful career. And it doesn't matter if it is engineering or otherwise. This program has uniquely suited every single senior here, I can say confidently, for whatever they wish to pursue. So without further ado, I will lend it to the video commemorating our 20th season.
I am Julian. I am one of the 2 chief operating officers of this team, and I'm also the head programmer for the team. So I'm going to show you the game animation. As Eliza said, this is unveiled at the start of January every year. So this is the big moment that we all wait for in the kickoff. Tells us basically everything we need to know about the game that we end up building a robot that does. So I'll just show you the video. The video does a very good job of explaining it.
Welcome to the 2024 First Robotics Competition game, Crescendo, presented by Haas. 2 alliances of 3 teams each compete to score or play notes in 3 different field elements, amplify their speaker, get on stage, harmonize, and take the spotlight before time runs out. Alliances earn additional rewards for meeting specific scoring thresholds and for cooperating with their opponents. Robots start each match inside their alliance's starting zone and may be preloaded with a note. During the first 15 seconds of the match, robots are autonomous and can be programmed to leave their starting zone, play preloaded notes in their speaker or amp, and collect and play additional notes. During the following 2 minutes and 15 seconds, drivers control their robots. Robots collect notes from human players at their source and play them in their amp and speaker. Each time an alliance plays 2 notes in their amp, the human player can hit a button to amplify their speaker for 10 seconds. Notes played in an amplified speaker are worth more points than those scored in an unamplified speaker. A human player may choose to play a note scored in their amp to cooperate with their opponent. If each alliance plays a note by hitting their cooperation button in the first 45 seconds of teleop, all teams in the match receive a cooperation point, which will influence a team's rank in the tournament. The number of played notes needed for a bonus ranking point is also reduced. Robots are protected from contact by their opponents when at their podium, off the ground, and during the last 20 seconds of the match while in contact with their stage. As time runs out, robots race to get on stage and deliver notes through the flap and into the trap. Bonus points are awarded for harmony when robots on stage use the same chain. On-stage robots earn even more points if a human player spotlights the robots on a chain by scoring a note on the chain's corresponding microphone. The alliance that earns the most points wins the match.
One thing that the animation didn't emphasize as much as I think it should is the cooperation. So a big part of FIRST is cooperation and gracious professionalism. So what that means is that while we're trying to win, we shouldn't try to do so at the expense of our opponents. So the matches are played 3v3. So the first 100 or so matches of the tournament, we don't play all 100, but there's 100 or so matches total. They're all randomly assigned. So we don't know if our opponents in our first match might be our partners in our third match. So we want to help them succeed just as much as we want to succeed. And the cooperation point helps us do that. Both teams have to press the cooperation button in order to benefit from that point. So if just one person presses that button, you won't get the point. And that really helps us work together and build an amazing community as FIRST.
The other important thing to remember is that our students have built this in just about 7 or 8 weeks. That this video that you see on the screen here, this is broadcast live to over 3,300 teams around the world. And we find out what the game is the first Saturday of every January. They give us this game animation. They give you about a 100-page manual, which has different rules about what you can and can't do. Obviously, it has rules about how your robot can interact with the field on an actual game. There's also rules about what motors you can use, what controllers you can use, how much your robot can weigh, the size, the height, all of that stuff is in the rules. So we spend the first few days brainstorming, figuring out what our overall goal is going to be, and then we start prototyping, designing, coding, and everything else. And that gets us to this point. So these kids are extremely dedicated, and they're very humble. So if you ask them that, they probably won't say so. But these kids are here almost every night until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, from right after school all the way up until then. And then they go home and have to do their homework, and are up late, and then they're back for the next day. And they do that because they love this program, and we love working with them. So.
3, 2, 1. Velociraptor!
Really good turn. At the same time, we move forward and back. As our drive team takes a pause. Ooh, I'm sorry. So we have recently transitioned to swerve drive from plate drive just last year. Again, that means that we can spin as well as move forward and back at the same time. That is great for strategy. That makes us a really great alliance partner, makes us able to move around the field really, really quickly and really precisely, which is awesome. We were initially a 28 by 28 inch chassis, meaning we're a pretty small robot and we're pretty square, but then in our design reviews we decided that wasn't quite optimal for our arm, which our mech leads will talk about later. So in those design reviews, we discuss, okay, we have our robot designed currently like this. What if we made it like this? And trying to optimize every single aspect of the robot that we possibly can. From start to finish, we start with CAD. We start with a rough design based on what our mech leads say, what electrical things, and we do a lot of collaboration with other robot subdivisions. And we also tweak our supports. We change our dimensions as needed, but as you can see, it turned out pretty nice. So that's it for chassis. I might pass it over to our mech leads if I feel like talking right now. So this is Nathaniel Veet and John Berto, as well as Matt Sheehan with Dracula.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel Veet. I'm a senior on the team. I'm also the co-mech lead for this year's robot.
Hello, my name is Matthew Sheehan. I'm a junior at Pascack Hills High School, and I'm one of the co-leaders in mechanical. You're good.
So we were both in charge of working on the shooter and intake as well as the climber. So when we got the season, we got the challenge, one of the first things we wanted to do was pick up game pieces as easy as possible. So we wanted to make a really wide intake that's very hungry. So anytime we touch a piece, we'd be able to intake it. Another goal of ours was to make it super light. So we made our intake out of HDPE. That's the black siding of the intake. It's just a type of plastic that we use, super light. And we also have a beam brake on our intake, so when we intake a piece, the note trips the beam brake and it tells us to stop intaking for easy automation and easy intaking when we're picking up pieces.
So one of the problems that we had to face during the season was for our main shooter plates where the node would be resting, we were using a piece of Lexan. But over the season, we figured out that that wasn't working because of the sticky material, or like the tension was too high on the material. So what we wanted to use was we decided to switch to a GDPE material. And what that does, basically, it's a slicker surface, and that was able for us to learn that the node would be able to move easier, so we could shoot efficiently. So for our shooter and our intake, we only run for one motor on each. So we run everything that you see that was run, like the shooter is run by one motor, the intake is run by one motor. We did this through different belts, different chains, different polycords, and all different types of materials that would help us move two things at once and move things in different directions. As we were early in development at the beginning of the season, we wanted to figure out what the angle of our intake would help us be the most efficient. And so after multiple tests, we figured out that 70 degrees for our intake was perfect, and we've kept it the same ever since. And one of the really cool things about this year is our intake and our elevator, which you'll see in a minute and hear about in a minute, are held together by a mounting bar. And this is strong enough for us to basically hold them all together. It really finishes the problem.
Next, we're going to have our other co-lead, John Murno, to talk about the elevator.
All right, so I was in charge of building what we used to call the superstructure, because at the time we got the game, we didn't know what we were going to do. But it's now formally known as the elevator because it is a cascading elevator. For those of you who don't know what that is, it basically means when we extend, if they can extend, each stage, if you see, is perfectly linked with the other stage, so we could track how far we go out and be precise every single time we extend. We know what the distance we extend perfectly. So at resting position, we sit at 21 inches. And then we needed to, when we trap over here, get to around 37.5, which you will probably see later, us trap. So about the elevator is the cascading. So one side is controlled by a chain. That is what actually moves the elevator. And then on the back, we have two ropes, which perfectly links every single stage together. And what it does is it allows the third stage, which is the innermost one, to extend with the second stage. So all we really need to do is move the second stage and it all moves out. That's the elevator. It's on a pivot, which allows us to change the angle of shooting, which is probably the biggest thing. And also when we trap, we need to pivot past the points, and you get the rope. We can get the chain past the, we can get the chain and the hooks basically. So that's why we put it on a pivot, and that's basically the elevator. Yeah. So and then what we use to climb, which is those two poles on the side, is what we call the climber. And what it allows us to do is basically grasp onto the chain and lifts us up.
So this year our climber is an upside down climb in a box. So a climb in a box is a pretty common FOC kit thing that teams buy, and it's an easy way to climb. But what we did weirdly this year is that we flipped it upside down. So normally the black part of the climber would be on the bottom, it's the biggest stage, and it gets smaller and smaller as we go up. But instead we flipped it upside down, and that way we were able to get the climbing hooks, which are the yellow on the bottom, as low as possible in order to trap. So that means going all the way up at the top there. It's just, yeah, so that's why we flipped it upside down, and it's a very unique thing for this robot this year. So we could try climbing now.
Yes, so alright, so the reason you see two hooks on the robot is one is for when we trap, we have to get the feet in the actual hatch itself, and that's what the bottom hooks are for. And it allows us to lift our robot higher up. The top hooks are for like a strategy thing. It basically is for if we don't need a trap, if we just need to get on the chain, it's a faster climb basically. And then pull ourselves down. Normally, we would shoot the other way and make it.
Do you want to try that one more time? The nice thing about these hooks too is that, as you saw in the game, there are 3 different traps around the stage. So we could do this multiple times. We could score one trap, get back down off the chain, and go climb on another chain, and then do a trap score in that station as well. And there we go. So a successful trap score. And that is the reason why the robot is named Velociraptor. Hey Grant, you want to talk about the electronics of the robot?
The robot pretty much runs on a motorcycle battery, and from the motorcycle battery it goes into this board that is able to distribute power through to the entire, like all the other parts of the robot. The robot uses something called a CAN bus, which you can find in cars and buses and other vehicles. And it starts at kind of like the motherboard and then ends at the power distribution, and it allows the robot to send signals to all of like the motor controllers and stuff like that. And it's also used by sensors, so sensors can send their data, and so it can be read by the motherboard, and the motherboard can send signals to motor controllers to spin. Other things, the robot uses, it has its own Wi-Fi connection, and on the side, you can kind of see it, there's a little white box that is the radio, and that sends Wi-Fi signals to the computer, so that allows like the drivers to use controllers and control the robot.
So the robot has to use all the sensors we built into it to act on its own. So to do that, we have a program called Path Planner that allows us to draw the path that the robot should follow on the screen. And then we're able to use that to make it do stuff along the path and follow that path within a few inches, incredibly precise. And everything that moves on the robot has a sensor on it, so we're able to know exactly where each part of the robot is, and that allows us to automate parts of the robot. So we use, it's called PID control, which will get it to either a certain position or a certain speed in case of the shooter, and it will hold it there. So if we feed a note through, that'll take away some of the speed, and the shooter will immediately speed back up to the target speed. If we just push on the arm, or even gravity tries to pull the arm down, if the PID is enabled in controlling the arm, it will not move. It is rock solid. And we use that to be able to automatically line up shots and automatically control everything. So the drivers don't need to do as much work. If you look on the speaker over there, those black and white QR code type things, those are called April tags. So we have a camera on our robot that has a computer inside the camera. So that's able to process the April tag and tell us where it is relative to the camera. And then we use that data to know the exact angle the arm needs to be to get the shot perfectly. And that way the driver just presses the button, the arm moves, and they press another button to shoot, and it goes right in. Which makes us spend a lot less time lining up our shots. And we can just go right back and pick up another piece. And inside the robot, you can't see it too well, it's under a lot of wires, is the brain of the robot, Brand mentioned earlier. But we have a board attached to that called a NavX that tells us exactly which direction the robot's facing. Which means that no matter what direction it's facing, if we press forward on the joystick, it will move down the field. If we press backwards, it will move towards us. And that enables us to not have to worry about what way the robot's facing. We can just move in any direction with our swerve drive, and it makes our cycle time significantly faster. Our cycle time being the time it takes from us picking up a piece to scoring the piece in either the speaker or the amp.
So, as we've been saying, we're not just about the robot. So as impressive as this is, which trust me, I know is very impressive, we also do a lot more that doesn't even have to do with the robot. So now I'm going to pass it over to our presentation team, and they're going to talk to you all about the wonderful outreach efforts that we do locally, regionally, and globally.
So hello, everyone. My name is Julia DeSalvo, and I am the Finance Subdivision Leader. And as our mentor said before, we don't just build award-winning robots, but we are also really focused on our community outreach efforts. So as you can see above, these are some of our community outreach events. So our community is really looking forward to all of our children's events and all the sort. Legos in the movie and Legos in the story tend to be community favorites. The goal of these events is to inspire the next generation, and typical events such as Legos in the story would entail the little children, kindergarten to 6th grade, coming in, building a Lego creation, then writing a story about it. Because we want to cultivate ingenuity and creativity within their little minds. We also donated 52 pounds of Legos to our international teams to help host this community favorite event in underserved communities. As you can see on the bottom right, we have the poster for our Girls Who Build and Code event. This event is hosted as a partnership with the Pascack Valley Girls Who Code Club, and it focuses on introducing younger girls to all fields of STEM, ranging from computer science to engineering. As you can see on the photo in the bottom right, we also hosted for the Girl Scout troop in our local community, which really aided building camaraderie and community, not only amongst the girls in the troop, but also amongst the girls and our members, and it was really a beautiful experience. And I will hand the microphone over to Ben.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Miller. I'm part of the presentation team and also the other COO Julia was mentioning. And as you can see on the board, one of the largest events we hold every year is our Fall for STEAM event. Now, our STEAM fair is a massive, massive event that we host to the entire community. I believe last year we had over 200 community members attend this, which was really incredible to see. Now, this event consists of 25 tables, 5 for each letter of STEAM, so that's science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And each of those tables get redesigned every single year to bring something new to our audience. And the best part about this event, in my personal opinion, is the fact that this tends to be the first time a lot of these kids get an introduction to all these different fields and ideas. This is the moment that really inspires a lot of these kids possibly to go on to become future pioneers or even future career holders in any of these fields. And it's really amazing seeing that spark ignite in all of these incredible youths. Another incredible thing our team does is our mentorship. We mentor, as you can see on the board, a load of teams internationally. Every single point of that map has 1 or more teams, coming up to a grand total of 19 different teams that we meet with regularly, be it through Zoom or any other means. We get to teach these kids, these teams, of course, the basics of robotics, as all of these teams are part of the FIRST robotics programs, but we also get to teach them a lot of other interesting, more varied skills you might not expect. We get to teach them how to manage their finances, how to organize and structure a team and create a chain of command, and it's really amazing seeing all these teams grow and adapt and get to the point where they're on our level when it comes to mentoring other teams. For example, in South Africa, we have a total of 8 different teams, 4 of which are rookies this year. So not only does that mean we get to introduce them to the wonders of first in robotics, which is, again, an amazing program, but we also get to see the teams we previously mentored, the other 4, get to work in person and hand in hand with those teams and really teach them the wonders of robotics as well. And speaking of in person, we had the absolute pleasure this year to meet with 2 of our international teams in person as well. They traveled all the way to us to meet with us, and it was really, I mean, I say incredible a lot, but that's because it is. It was an awesome experience meeting these really awesome people and being able to work side by side with them, watching the ways that they think about designing a robot is incredible, because as much as this was a mentoring experience for them, of course, we're supposed to be teaching them, we learned just as much, if not more, from the ways that they solved problems and the way they came up with ideas. And again, it was an incredible thing. And of course, all of these events I'm showing and talking about are just a fraction of the community events we talk about or we host on a daily basis. And if any of you guys would like to learn more about any of the events we want, feel free to talk to me after this presentation is over. There. Back to Julia. For real this time.
As the finance subdivision leader and also a member of the team, we are extremely grateful for the generosity of our sponsors. Their support has helped us continue to build award-winning robots, continue our community and international outreach efforts, and also maintain our high level of excellence. So I'd like to thank all the sponsors who are here tonight for their continued support. As you can see here, this is one of our sponsor visits this season. We had one at Crush John, picture above. Yeah. And also one at NBC Universal. These sponsor visits allow our students to gain insight into potential job opportunities and see what they would like to pursue in the future. Okay, so Crush John, of course, is also one of our mentors, as well as NBC Universal. We're currently looking for mentors, and we have the sponsorship brochure on your seat. If you are interested in sponsorship or mentorship, feel free to talk to me afterwards as the finance subdivision leader. As you can see here, here are some of our sponsors. They are featured on the back of our shirts, in our pit, on our robot, all of the above. And I'd basically just like to thank all of our sponsors for being here tonight, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right. I think that's all that we have in terms of actual presentation. Obviously, if you guys have any questions or want to come up and take a look at the robot, we'd be more than happy to. Feel free to come up. We'll explain anything that you have any questions about. Feel free to talk to our kids. If you have any other questions, feel free to come to either myself or Jack Theodore or Lisa Ruggieri. We also have tons of food, tons of drinks, and we hope you guys enjoyed your time here. Thank you very much for coming, and we hope to see you guys back next year, hopefully. Thank you, everyone.